All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. All right, all right, all right. Man, man, I just love it when that beat hits. I could listen to this beat made by none other than Dinty Automator. I could have that thing play all day and have Dell, the funky Homo sapien, rap over that thing day in, day out, and I still will feel the same excitement, the same exhilaration that I felt hearing that song for the very first time when I was slowly being educated about things such as viruses and government conspiracies and all of those things right there. A wonderful little beat right there by one of my favorite producers of all time, Dan the Automator. If you've never heard Deltron 3030, the mashup between Dan the Automator, producer extraordinaire, and Del the Funky Homo Sapien, hip hop lyricist extraordinaire, I suggest that you hear that. But good evenfall to one and all. And good evenfall to every single one of our listeners out there. This is your interlocutor, Warp Speed. Yo, 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 who's that? Who's doing that crazy violation of my... I assure you that whatever that is not me playing whatever music that is. The cow, is that you in the background? Okay, it seems that somehow we are being invaded or something to that effect. Oh yeah. Gonna be a guest tonight. His name is Cal Paradox, but I guess he's a bit oblivious at the moment, and he's playing his music in the background, completely taking over the Warp Speed show. My goodness, this guy right here might just be the last time I invite this guy over. But again, good evenfall to one and all. And this is Warped Speed. Lieutenant Commander Starlog date 11008.7. That is crazy. Not too sure what's going on here. Not too sure what's going on right there. But I assure you that that is not my music. But nonetheless, we are going to be having a guest tonight that's going to be discussing some different topics to what we usually discuss right here in the Warp Speed show, which is Life with Warp Speed, Life at Warp Speed. And with that being said, we are going to address one of the scariest things that you can think of. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that war and the rumors of war are abundant. Everybody seems to be providing their opinion, their feedback on what the future holds after the attempted assassination of our former president, Mr. Donald J. Trump. But it's not only that. Even before this, there was rumors of war because of the U.S. alleging they might get involved in this dispute between Ukraine and the Soviet Union, Russia, or Russia. I don't know if they call themselves the Soviet Union still. But nonetheless, there is some war over there in that eastern bloc of Europe. And the US, of course, has provided logistics and weaponry and financial backing to Ukraine in order to fend off the big bear attack of Russia. And of course, whenever we discuss Russia and the US going toe to toe, ramming heads, butting heads against each other, of course, we always have to consider the possibility of nuclear armament, of nuclear war, like they have been doing since the 1950s, when there used to be these things called duck and cover drills, right? Not too sure if you recall what those are. Then again, maybe I should stop by, you know, saying that I don't know how old you are. I don't know if you're old enough to remember what duck and cover drills were. Maybe you're younger than myself, 30s or so. By the time that they stopped, maybe you weren't doing those kind of drills anymore, because the Soviet Union, after Ronald Reagan, like around 86 or 89 or something to that effect, they were disbanded. They separated. I think that's how Ukraine came to become its own little nation. But I recall as a child growing up in the 80s that we would have to do duck and cover drills. We used to have these desks that consisted of a flat wooden panel at the top, metal sides, and sometimes for group projects we would get together and put up all of our desks, make about 6 of them, and then we'd make, the closest thing to what would resemble a big dining room sized table, and then they would have us duck and cover. They were occasional drills. I don't want you to get the impression that we were always ducking and cover, but nonetheless they would ask us to duck, cover under our desk, put our heads over, uh, put our arms and heads over. Well, let me say that again. Put our hands and arms over our head, make ourselves into a little ball, and that would apparently be the position that we would assume in the due case that one of our enemies dropped an atomic bomb in the United States of America. It was presupposed that that practice of ducking under your desk would maybe provide enough safety from the immediate and residual effects of nuclear detonation, so that you didn't really have to, you had a fighting chance, I guess you can say, right? Now, the practice of ducking and covering, those drills started in the 1950s under President Truman, Harry S. Truman. And the exact date of the 30th of November 1950, as written right here on thehistorychannel.com. It states, on November 30, 1950, President Harry S. Truman announces during a press conference that he is prepared to authorize the use of atomic weapons in order to achieve peace in Korea. Right? Truman was blaming the Soviet Union for using communist Chinese insurgents as part of a devious plan to spread communism into Asia, and he said that he would not discount the use of nuclear weaponry to prevent the spread of communism. Right? Now recall, ladies and gentlemen, that the one and only time that nuclear armament was ever used and detonated was in World War II, when the US dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After that, the whole world saw the devastating power of a nation that can harness the atom. Yes, atom, the smallest particle of which every single thing consists of in the world, and maybe even in the universe. That small thing, if you can harness its power, you can create one of the most devastating attacks that a human being can create while extant: the nuclear weapon, the atomic bomb. Now, I think in 1963, if I'm not mistaken, I think in 1963 is when it was made official that that they wouldn't necessarily have to practice the duck and cover drills anymore. Yep, that's right. In 1963, President Kennedy signed an agreement with the Soviet Union to limit the number of nuclear tests each country could perform. This agreement eased the tension between the two countries, and as a result, the duck and cover drills, as well as building air raid shelters, came to an end. So in 1963, President Kennedy, yes, another one of our presidents that was assassinated, just like Abraham Lincoln, and quite similarly, like they attempted against President Donald J. Trump. This gentleman in 1963 came to an agreement with the Soviet Union. I believe it was maybe Gorbachev or who knows, Khrushchev, something to that effect. One of his nemesis, they agreed that they were gonna limit their detonations of atomic weaponry, because they still go on, everybody. In case you guys don't know this, there's this thing called a nuclear weapon, an atomic bomb. And in Nevada and in other parts of the world, sometimes in the ocean, these big parts of the earth where there's a lot of room, they drop these bombs that, I don't know, they reach hundreds of feet, thousands of feet maybe, up into the air. They spread radiation for up to 5.5 miles in distance, charring and burning everything in its path, destroying everything like a powerful hurricane wind. And these two world leaders agreed that they were going to ease tensions by limiting their practices on nuclear and atomic detonation. I'm not too sure if nuclear and atomic are one and the same. I doubt it. But nonetheless, they were going to limit that practice. So in 1963, people stopped to practice those duck and cover drills, right? Imagine those children, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine the children. 5th grade, your teacher screams, duck and cover. They would release these sirens. They would go off in the school, rah, rah, rah. And then the kids would get startled and they would turn around and the teacher, duck and cover, duck and cover. And then the children would cower under their desk, imagining with their little imaginative minds, their creative minds, that something might rain from the sky upon them, and hopefully they would survive. As a child growing up, we still did those in the 80s. Even though officially, I guess in 1963 is when it was no longer as necessary. Maybe I'm incorrect about these things, right? I'm not a historian. But nonetheless, this is the world that we, some of us that are in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, who knows, were being brought up in. Now, you're probably asking yourself, why are we discussing atomic warfare when this show, Life at Warp Speed, is a show dedicated to boxing especially? Well, because the thing is this, right? I, above anything, am a curious individual that has a lot of questions and nary any answers. So I'm just asking questions about things that people seem to know more about. And most recently, in our last live here on Life at Warp Speed, we had one of our guests. His name was Dream, and he asked me, "Are you afraid of the end of the world?" And I told him, "What are you talking about?" And of course, he told us about how Joe Rogan has spoken about how he believes the end of the world is nigh, and that atomic warfare, nuclear warfare, is but a given, right? He thinks that's gonna be it. He thinks Russia will attack Ukraine with weaponry that powerful, that the US will get involved. The US will drop something on an important sector of Russia, that Russia will detonate, that all of a sudden everybody is starting to drop all these bombs by pressing all of these buttons, and all of a sudden it just becomes a chain reaction where everybody gets startled at the end is nigh. And of course, these mega maniacal leaders, they want to just kill over all of us, kill all of us, and they press that button. Because why not? We're all gonna die. If the detonation does not take us out, in a matter of days and weeks, our skin will be falling apart. Those that are distant enough from nuclear detonation will start getting leukemia and cancer and tumors developing. Their death will take months or years. The lucky ones might cast a shadow against a wall that, if it's lucky enough, the wall might stand. And he asked me, "Are you afraid?" And I told him, "No." Why? I play baseball with my children. I build lowrider cars. On a nice warm Sunday afternoon, I turn on my Buick Wildcat and I drive 20 miles an hour down the streets of beautiful Salinas, California. What am I to fear? Every day I'm lucky enough to see my mother and my father and tell them I love them. Every day I'm fortunate enough to see my siblings and argue with them. Right? Every day I'm fortunate enough that I can afford to StreamYard and invite you guys to the confused and decrepit mind of Warp Speed. I made friends all over the world because of StreamYard, because of YouTube. I am quite content where I'm at. I have a beautiful wife of over 20 years that cooks wonderfully and delicious food. I call myself a Chicano and I'm proud of it. I represent two nations, glad to do it. I don't hate anybody, and I hope nobody hates me. So what do I have to fear? But nonetheless, let's just address these things, right? Let's see exactly what it is that Joe Rogan stated and why. Good even fall to the homie Ricky, here listening loud and clear. Alexis Rocha versus an undefeated Mexican fighter, Santiago Dominguez, on the zone this Friday. Absolutely. I was about to post in the community about that. Alexis Rocha is a feisty fighter that's always fun. And even though he got completely obliterated by Giovanni Santillan, does not mean he didn't completely obliterate one of my favorite fighters, Blair the Flair Cobbs. That guy can put up a fight. And you put him against an undefeated fighter, man, oh man, that guy's going to go out there balls to the wall, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon my French. Mr. Vince Vargas, good even fall to you. The music at the end of your videos reminds me of those times. Yes. Yeah. Apocalyptic, dark, nebulous music, Mr. Vince Vargas. That is, of course, Welcome to the Machine by Pink Floyd. That is their instrumental. So if you're into psychedelics, freedom, wonderful rock, Pink Floyd. The homie Ricky says, "Don't you freaking lie." Are you talking about the duck and cover? Yeah, we used to do that, homie Ricky. We still used to do that in the 80s, man. El Pachuco, saludos. Buenas noches. El Pachuco, good even fall to you, hermano. I hope you are doing well of health and sane of mind. Carnalito, thank you very much for joining us again. We're talking nuclear armament, El Pachuco. And I'm not too sure how old you are. I'm not too sure how old you are, Mr. Vince Vargas, but maybe you guys practiced duck and cover like I did in the 80s when I was maybe about, I don't know, 5 to 9 or something like that. I think we even used to do that in Yuma, Arizona, when I had to travel over there with my father to follow what they call La Jornada, the journey from the field workers. Here in the Saddle Bowl, we would travel over there to Yuma, Arizona to harvest fruit. Where you headed, old buddy? All right. All right. Stay out of trouble. Give him hell. The homie Ricky says, which is why we fight. Absolutely. We fight. We never give up the fight. The homie Ricky. But Dream hit me up and he asked me that. And of course, I said, let's look into what Joe Rogan stated recently. And apparently, about 6 days ago or so, on the 12th of July, current year 2024, and this is the report that I found. It's on something called Sports Skita. Wait. Before that, I think I just saw Run That Media. All right, there you go. How did I miss you? I invited you. Cal Paradox is Run the Media. He's the uh, he is the major domo, the foreman of Run That Media, and I invited him here. He was going to be my guest, but I'm not too sure what happened with his audio. He was blasting all of his music, taking over life at warp speed. I couldn't hear myself talk. I was talking to you. I was trying to get your attention, telling you, I don't know what kind of beats you're playing in the background. They sound amazing, but I can't hear anything besides that. So I guess we were being attacked by the Borg. But to Run That Media, Cal Paradox states, Cal's gonna go nuclear if he has to keep waiting. Man, you left me waiting, buddy. You were completely ignoring me. We'll give it another shot. Let's see if if we can get you back on pretty soon. But Joe Rogan is quoted under this website called sportsskita.com. It's titled Joe Rogan fears nuclear war is imminent and will push humanity to the edge of extinction. Quote, we're back to the cave era. This is a report written by Jake Foley. Joe Rogan believes a nuclear war could send the human race back to the cave era in the relatively near future. It's no secret that several ongoing wars are taking place around the world, including Ukraine, Russia, and Israel, Palestine. Meantime, the United States is slowly becoming a presence in dangerous conflicts by providing financial assistance to Ukraine, leaving Russia to consider them an enemy. Okay, besides the fact that the U.S. should not meddle in affairs that do not concern them, maybe people would say, well, what do you mean it doesn't concern them? The U.S. is a capitalist society, a capitalist nation. The fact that Russia would be socialist and communist, then that would by default make them their enemy, their sworn enemy, and they have to combat that. We have to fight, like the homie Ricky states. Yeah, but Russia's only defending their sphere of influence, right? It's like when Russia and the Bay of Pigs brought along a lot of boats and was training the Cubans and providing them some aid when the embargo of the U.S. was limiting their foodstuff and their imports, and otherwise the U.S. did not like the fact that the Soviet Union was so close to its borders, right? So eventually they negotiated something, and then Russia left them. That's the same thing that Russia must feel, seeing the U.S. giving billions upon billions of our hard-earned tax dollars to Ukraine in order for them to just buy more weaponry from these multi-million-dollar corporations, from the military-industrial complex, get those monies on loans to impoverish that nation, while they use those bullets and bombs and things to kill what formerly used to be their brothers and sisters, right? Of course Russia has a dog in that fight. We don't have to meddle in those affairs. And that's one of the things that made President Donald J. Trump, when he was at the helm of the ship, beloved by his people, is that he did not escalate wars and he did not start any wars, right? So Joe Rogan here is talking about all of these things, right? And he says that apparently these things are imminent, that we are soon to go to this crazy old type of warfare that's just gonna devastate all of the planet and take us back to the Stone Age. And he states, if you think about the timeline between 1945 and today, it's kind of extraordinary that nobody has launched a nuke. It almost seems like a matter of time. It'll be a blip in history. It could go sideways at any moment, and we're back to the cave era, he says. Now, that is true. Joe Rogan is absolutely truthful in what he stated, that it is extraordinary that nobody has launched a nuke, right? We do live in a very superstitious reality where seemingly everything that has been written in books such as the Bible and the Quran and the Torah, all of these things always profess that there is going to be this apocalyptic end of the world to befall on earth before the Savior comes, right? And these folks that profess these things, they're always saying this is the end. So, of course, sometimes these feeble minded, weak, superstitious leaders of ours, they actually believe those stuff. So they talk about going to war and using weapons to destroy our enemies that will obviously just escalate things and have those enemies use the same weapons on us. And then we're, like Bob Marley stated on this song, right? Redemption song. They have to fulfill the book. They have to make the stories told in the Bible a reality. And there's many reasons why you can look into those things, right? Like, for example, why would people want to make those horrible stories? Ladies and gentlemen, let's admit, the apocalypse, the rapture, the end of the world, they're horrible stories to end the book on, right? In the hopes that some of us are good enough to ascend to heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, Mr. Vince Vargas, the homie Ricky, El Pachuco, Run That Media, I ask anybody that's listening here, are you without faults? Are you the one that can cast the stone because you are without sin? Are you the best person that you can be? And you are so reassured as a result of that, that you think you will have a seat next to the Lord. Are you sure of that? I'm not. I've famously said that I'm a piece of shit. I've told you about my near-death experience. I told you what it ended in. It concluded in me full of tears, with the bed completely drenched in salt water from my face, and thinking to myself, I've been a piece of shit. Yes, I did say I'm going to change, and for the most part, I believe I have. But am I going to be judged on who I am now? Or am I going to be judged on who I was before? Or am I going to be judged on the compilation of both things? And where will the scales tip? On the side of being good or bad? Mr. Vince Vargas, I love that. I'll be the bouncer at the gate, he says. Yes, you'll be the gatekeeper. I love it. And you know what, Mr. Vince Vargas, I really do hope that you are that good of a person. I know for the most part you are very supportive of us. You've been very respectful. You've never said anything bad about anybody, not while you've been here with us for nearly a year, right? So I do believe that if you want to be a bouncer at the gates of heaven, at the pearly gates, I hope that that is real. I hope that that becomes a reality. Run That Media says, I'm out. I've waited too long. Cal, I don't see you as waiting in the background as a guest anymore. I'm not too sure what happened, but yeah, no, I mean, I can't hop on, bring anybody else. I sent out the link, and if I start sending more links right now, I think it'll disrupt the I don't know what you call it, the thumbnail or this tab or whatever it's called. So I don't want to risk it. We'll just have to reconnect again. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate, man. I'm not too sure what happened, but your music, your beats that you were playing while I was addressing you was just taking over the show. Not too sure what happened there, man. But yeah, we'll connect again. Don't even worry about it, man. Adi Medi Hub Sonic, good even for you. He says, are we talking about Caleb Plant? I heard a gatekeeper. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if he's played a gatekeeper yet. I mean, who has beaten him that has become a champion? Nobody yet, right? So he's a contender, Addy. Let's not belittle that man's accomplishment. I'll tell you one thing, though. Caleb Plant drives around in a 1964 Super Sport Impala convertible, and that is the dream car for many cholos, vatos locos, a lot of lowriders, a lot of S's. There's a lot of people that would love to have Caleb Plant's perfectly restored 64 drop top low blow. The homie Ricky states, Speed likes to hear himself talk at Run That Media. Yep, I actually do, homie Ricky. So is his wife, the dream wife. Yeah. I'm not, oh well, yeah, she's yeah, what is her name? That reporter lady. She's nice. She's a very respectful and respectable lady. I hate Ryan Garcia for having said those foul, offensive things about her. Man, man, Ryan Garcia, man. Jordan Plant, that's right, Jordan Plant. Um, but Arimedi, we're discussing nuclear armament, right? Now, what do you guys think, ladies and gentlemen? Do you folks think that Joe Rogan is correct when he states that we are upon the precipice of nuclear warfare? Do you folks actually believe any of our world leaders are stupid and asinine and insane enough to drop a nuke? I don't. But I would like to hear from you guys. What is your opinion about that? Is Joe Rogan correct? Right. Recall, nobody has dropped an atomic bomb since Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Right? That is how devastating and uncontrollable the power of the atom bomb is. Right? Yeah, everybody can arm themselves to the teeth with weapons of mass destruction like that. But at the end of the day, who wins? Who wins that? Right? Do you guys think the guy who wins this is Mark Zuckerberg? Wait up. What do you want? Can you use the who? No, not until you're done with your biking. Oh, sorry, buddy. You want this charger? You gotta do that bike for 15 minutes. This guy right here is trying to hustle me. My 10-year-old son is trying to hustle me to give up my phone charger, which I'm using to charge this device to go live with. After I told him, give me 15 minutes on that exercise bike, this fancy schmancy exercise bike that I got dirt cheap at Costco years back. But this guy right here, I admit it's a Republican in California. Would that be Ryan Garcia? I don't know if he's smart enough to know anything about politics. I know that he may be emotional enough to go with the flow, right? But I'm not too sure if he's a Republican. He's definitely moving like a softie, right? Blaming this guy and blaming that guy. I know a lot of people that are mostly nowadays modern Democrats that are so soft. Back then, the old Democrats, the hardworking blue collar types, the construction guys that would vote for unions and stuff like that, those guys were Democrats, right? The guys that still remember the Democratic Party from Kennedy, the guys that would like to make proper, respectful relations between nations and stave off warfare. Those guys that knew that every time there was war, it meant their own children were going to the cannon fodder. Their own children were going to the abattoir. Those guys were the old Democrats of yesteryear. But nowadays, I don't know what this party is. This is not a Democratic Party, guys. This is more like a socialist, communist, Marxist, Leninist. I don't know what it is, guys. I'm not that smart. But what I know is that this feels different to what people used to vote for and live by when I think about the Democrats, right? But who knows, guys? I no longer follow politics. I believe both parties, this bipartisan system is corrupt. I believe all of them are buddies. I believe most of them are all blood relatives, right? So how much can they really hate each other? How honest can their division be between those that we elect to represent us as Republicans and those that we elect to represent us as Democrats, when we can harken back and track their bloodline and know that they're from the 13 colonies that funded the U.S. in the same bloodlines? Man, El Brook is fighting Paige Van Sant. No, homie Ricky, that already took place. El Brook and Paige Van Sant, that already took place, and it was deemed a draw, unless you're talking about a rematch. But that was a very good fight. And in fact, here it is, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of you guys don't watch Misfit Boxing, right? Because you guys are like, oh, I'm a hardcore. Oh, it's not boxing. It's YouTubers trying to play the part. But I've told you time and time again, these guys take themselves serious, right? They try and try and try because they need to win in order to increase their subscriber count, their fan base, so they get better and better. And you have to understand that Elle Brooke was an influencer. In fact, she is an influencer. But she started to train under the Australian uh, boxer, a professional boxer, who just lost to Mio Yoshida. Oh goodness. Oh wow. Can't remember what her name is, but she started to train under her, and she became this little feisty firebrand, right? And of course, we all know that Paige Van Sant, even though she's not a professional boxer, she is a mixed martial artist, and part of that MMA background includes throwing punches like a boxer. And in fact, Paige Van Sant, if I'm not mistaken, was mostly a stand-up fighter in MMA. So when they went together, of course, all the diehards thought Paige Van Sant would win. But man, oh man, if you guys watch that fight, one of the fights of the year, Elle Brooke, yup, influencer, fought Paige Van Sant, yup, mixed martial artist, and they went bejeez to the knees, and they gave us a hell of a fight. If you guys have an opportunity, watch that. It's only, of course, 5 rounds. I think 2 minutes each. Some fun stuff right there. Eddie Medi states, yeah, they need to build him back up to fight for a title. What better than a tune-up against the Jap? Um, yeah, so you heard about that, right, Eddie Medi? He's going to be having some kind of an exhibition match over there in Japan against I'm not too sure who. I know I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna sponsor that right there. It's a frivolous fight, and I really don't care for Ryan Garcia. I don't care to part money, waste my money to fund that guy's shenanigans anymore. And the homie Ricky says, "Oh wait, can't can't wait to watch Ismael Barroso fight in the Naoya Inoue card." Oh, that's Eddie Medi. Yeah, I did not know that. Man, Eddie Medi. This is why I told you I have to make you the wrench, because you are always backing me up. You're always doing searches to back me up or throw in some tidbits of information that even escapes me. So that's incredible of you. Thank you very much, Eddie Medi. We missed you during those 2 weeks that you were out. I wonder what parts of the world you visited, or should I say, what parts of outer space? Because I don't even know Eddie Medi where he's at right now. Yeah, they need to build him back up to fight for that title. It's influencer code for porn star. Um, no, homie Ricky, but there are some very beautiful, very attractive influencers out there. And one of them, her name is. Oh my goodness! Don't, ladies and gentlemen, don't do drugs. Don't do drugs. My God. Oh man, I forget names, guys. I'm sorry. Eddie, probably the most diehard boxing fan out here. Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg, ladies and gentlemen. Mark Zuckerberg is apparently building a nuclear bunker. Can you believe that? Mark Zuckerberg is building a nuclear bunker. All right. Mark Zuckerberg has owns land over there in Kauai, in Hawaii, one of those islands, and apparently he owns, hundreds of acreage over there, and he's building some kind of nuclear shelter, right? Um, let me Mark Zuckerberg, Joe Rogan. This is what I was reading. Joe Rogan calls out Mark Zuckerberg theory, which is that he's building a nuclear bunker to quote unquote shield himself should such a war break out. And of course, most recently, Joe Rogan had this person talking about nuclear war. Her name is Annie Jacobson. There you go, Annie Jacobson. She wrote a book called Nuclear War Is Scenario, and she talks about all of these scenarios about what could happen if somebody should be crazy enough to drop a nuclear bomb. And of course, they get into addressing how Mark Zuckerberg, one of the most influential, powerful, and wealthy individuals out there, he thinks he's going to survive by building a bunker in Kauai that would not only withstand the hurricanes, but of course, it would withstand nuclear detonation, right? And of course, they delve deep into how improbable it is. I mean, of course, the damage that nuclear atomic warfare, the microwaves and all of those residual chemicals that linger in the air afterwards, all of that, if they were to just completely engulf the earth, it would take decades or whatever to clear the air, if anything, right? And he would have to have enough food, water, and sustenance to keep himself underground, because of course this bunker would have to be underground, and he would have to have an infinitesimal amount of food and water. Right now, of course, he's already some kind of a recluse. You never see him out there. He's not mingling with the little guys. So maybe he's already one of those recluses that would enjoy that kind of sheltered life, right? A world where once 20 years from, nuclear detonation all over the planet clears out, he comes out, sticks his head from his rat hole, and looks around, and he sees everything completely devastated. All the trees burnt down, leafless, no animals. He goes out there to a barren landscape, and he stretches his arms. Yeah, I'm one of the only ones out here, right? All right, buddy. Now, who are you gonna play virtual reality boxing with? Who are you gonna transcend into this plan of yours to upload everybody's brain data into the cloud in order to allow them to live forever as information in the clouds? Who are you gonna have as your slaves, as your maid, right? Because that's really what these guys want. They want us just limited enough where we can take the most basic of orders. That's why they distract you with virtual reality goggles. They want you to forgo the beauty of planet Earth, the cosmos. And they tell you, if you've seen a tree, you've seen them all. If you've seen the Buick Wildcat, you've seen them all. but I will show you things you've never seen. Look, slap on these virtual reality goggles and go to a world where you can see dinosaurs, sharks, saber-toothed tigers. Look, you want to visit the planet Neptune? Here you go. As if the world is not beautiful enough, as if you've seen everything under the sun on planet Earth. They tell you, it's nothing special. Here, slap on these goggles. Distract yourself. Look, don't worry about it. You don't have to work anymore. We'll give you free money so that you don't have to go out there and labor and toil and sweat and bleed to feel a sense of accomplishment. Don't worry about it. We'll give you universal basic income so that you can buy all of these things that you don't have to work for, because we got machines that'll press all of these things at the drop of a dime, and you'll have everything in the power of your hand. All you have to do is carry your phone, your Apple phone, and hop on the Google. It will make all your realities. And you think, yeah, why would I want to work? It's hard working. I hate sweating. My muscles hurt. I want to just have fun. Right? And in the meantime, you become weakened. You have no muscle development. Your brain is no longer being stimulated because it's just being emptied into a void because of all the unnecessary, trivial things that swamp you, that cloud your mind, that distract you from the human connections, from the accomplishment of success and effort, and of loss and defeat, and of triumph that comes with experiencing life. Life will slowly be substituted by something you slap around your brow. You put on the blinders and you travel into another world, everything but your reality. And it becomes a dream that you never wake up from. And when you do, the world around you seems so much different. You no longer recognize it. You are now weakened of muscle and tone, and febrile of brain, insane to come to reality after having so much of these distractions, right? This is what Mark Zuckerberg wants from us. He wants us to be that simple so that once he crosses out of his rat hole and he stretches his muscle and he's like, oh yeah. He looks around, and if there's any human out there, the weak one, he'll be like, come here, you slave. Mr. Vince Park says The Book of Eli wouldn't say it was a good movie. Yeah, it was an incredible movie, I believe. Eddie Medi says, no, but I'm a weird OCD MFer. So I guess he isn't, in fact, one of the most diehard boxing fans out there. He just has OCD. Man, Eddie Medi, you're a genius. I have a spreadsheet full of boxing data, vacant titles, rankings, upcoming fights, etc. Yeah, I think we all try to do that. I do the same thing with NFL, NCAA, hockey, MLS, etc. Wow. You do code for the casinos, Homie Ricky states. Sounds like the set the money times for sports betting. Doesn't Bill Gates already have bunkers in Antarctica with every seed to plant trees and fruits, or is that rumors? You know, that's a rumor that's been it's been around for a long time. I did not know that Bill Gates apparently owned that, but I did know that there are bunkers in Antarctica that, well, it's a seed library, if I'm not mistaken. They have been saving seed for. Yo, is that you, woman? I did not even see you come in here. That's my wife right there. It's a library of of all the seeds, all the kernels, all the pollen that makes up all of the plants and the verdants right here in planet Earth. It's made there. Why? Because they do fear that a lot of these plants will go extinct, that they will cease to exist, and of course somebody wants to repopulate, or better not repopulate, replant and reseed the planet once it goes nuclear. That's the whole purpose of that. I did not know that Bill Gates owned that, but it wouldn't surprise me because, hey, Bill Gates is likely going to be one of those guys that thinks he's going to live forever. He thinks he's going to be like Krang. If you guys ever remember that those cartoons called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, there was Shredder, and then Shredder used to work with this guy named Krang. Krang was another bad guy. I think it was an underling of Shredder, or maybe his boss or something. But basically, Krang was this pink puttied skin individual with glasses. He looked silly, but that guy was just some kind of drone, because inside of his gut there was like this empty space there, and there was like a fishbowl, and inside of that fishbowl there was a brain. That guy was Krang, and Krang would work with Shredder, and I think that's what these guys think, that one day they'll be able to develop the medicinal magic of surgical procedures that'll sever the brain from all of the neurons and nerve endings and other things that require the brain to continue to be connected to in order to survive. And they'll put that in some kind of a solution that will allow the brain to continue being perfectly undamaged without the risk of decrepitude over time, in order for them to connect with those lingering nerve endings to the World Wide Web and exist not in a physical form, but in a corporeal-less form, a form that does not require a body. The only physical attribute of that will be the brain itself, but there won't be the limitations of a body that has to bend or anything. That's cute. What is that? My wife is just showing me all these cute little things that she buys. She looks like a button. If you guys know what a button is, it's like a cute little thing. I call her animalito, which is like little animal, because she's like she's like a little animal, right? Like, you know, like a cute little animal, like a little, I don't know, chipmunk, little cute things. That's how, you know, she looks right now. But long story short, I don't know what I'm going at, guys, but here I am to just say what I told you all about, all these things that I have no clue about, and I'm just ranting. It all comes from the fact that there are people that think the end of the world is nigh, because there's gonna be lunatics enough to detonate atomic weaponry on our beautiful planet Earth, right? And I don't think anybody's that stupid. Unless, of course, it's all those guys that are building those bunkers. Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. I bet Elon Musk probably has a shelter in Mars, right? Doesn't he want to populate Mars? Doesn't he want to make it habitable? These guys that don't care for Mother, for Gaia, for the planet Earth, those guys are the most powerful individuals out there, likely more powerful than the people that have the nuclear bomb button at their avail. Why? Because without those guys, there is no internet, there is no power, there is no food, there is no oil, all of those things. They own all of those things. They control all of those things. And guess what? They'll continue to control all of those things. Meantime, world leaders, they get replaced every what? 4 years in the United States, 6 years in Mexico, every 4 years or 6 years in Canada, whatever, right? Those guys will continue to have the power, while the world leaders change every so often. Those guys are the overlords. Arimeri says, The main actress is a photographer, Kirsten Dunst, Mary Jane from Spider-Man. Yeah. So it's you guys are talking about that film, right? You guys are talking film. That's awesome. Homie Ricky, you're a film buff. You're a cinephile, right? If you want to hop on, man, I'll see if I can send you a link without disrupting. But yeah, you guys are going off on the good one. The Book of Eli is a fantastic film. Around the same time as a more realistic one called The Road by Viggo Mortensen and Charlize Theron. Man, Viggo Mortensen and Charlize Theron. If you guys know anything about those guys, the actor and actress, man, they were on a tear in those years. 20s, 2000s, 2010s, man. Charlize Theron, of course, from the Devil's Advocate, one of the most impressive actresses in that movie, incredible. Viggo Mortensen, he of course came out in The Road, incredible, and also a what is it? A history of violence or something like that? A Russian film or a British film, something like that. Incredible. More realistic one called The Road. Yeah, it's incredible. I seen that one, homie Ricky. Eddie Medi says, don't let them distract you from the fact that Joe Biden will beat Medicare. Yeah, yeah. I just recently watched a film called Civil War. It came out this year, 2024, written and directed by Alex Garland, who is better known for Machina or Machina, a movie about AI. Well, Civil War, if I'm not mistaken, homie Ricky, was also founded by the Obamas. And a lot of people thought that it was propaganda. Propaganda meant to make the U.S. look like it's so divided that civil war is a remediation to our division. Or at least that's what I remember having read. I don't watch movies, so I don't care, and I don't, you know, care for any of our world leaders, especially ones that no longer should have anything to say. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? If you guys know anything about President Obama, apparently President Obama is still the most powerful individual in the Democratic National Party. He may be the guy who has the most power in that party, and he may call so many shots. And in fact, a lot of people have always stated that Joe Biden is just being puppeteered by former President Barack Obama. A lot of people blame Barack Obama for a lot of things, right? But they say that he is one of those all-powerful leaders and that he rubs shoulders with George Clooney. And I'm not too sure what to say about George Clooney, guys, but I've been reading, well, at least I ran into a very interesting article that states that George Clooney, yep, the actor, he has those boyish good looks, and he's come out in movies. I don't know what kind of movies, I can't quote him, but basically that guy apparently has an agency that's very similar to Interpol, the International Police Agency. Interpol is a type of agency that has a lot of representatives from all parts of the world, and only people that have offended the world at large or exposed the world at large to things such as inhuman crimes against humanity and things of the sort. Only Interpol can travel into any country and arrest anybody, as long as, of course, they are members of Interpol, right? Because they're the international police. And apparently George Clooney, he has an agency very similar to that. And I was like, what do you mean, George Clooney? And then I started to read some comments. I don't want to go there, guys. Don't quote me. I'm an imbecile. I'm a complete airhead. I don't know how to put these things together anymore. Come on. I used to huff gasoline from a 5-gallon gas tank in my room in the dark, listening to punk rock and drum and bass. You know you can't rely on my memory. You can't rely on my opinion. But some people, some commenters were saying that apparently George Clooney is one of those very powerful individuals, that he works for the CIA. And that he has these crazy extravagant parties where all the wealthiest people and actors go there, and he invites them to these very remote parts of the world where sometimes people have to fly in there, and that they have luxuries galore, women galore, things very semblant of what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Some people speculate that George Clooney has been a Jeffrey Epstein type for a long time. Wow. Can you believe that? You guys are talking about movies, and I'm talking about actors. Arimeri says, I watched the trailer and it was a bit weird. So you asked the question, what was the reason I even watched the movie? I was disappointed afterwards because that was the only interesting part of the movie. True. If I wanted to watch movies about photographers and capturing candid moments, I would have went to an Airbnb. The homie Ricky says the film was very mediocre and I thought it was going to be more like Doctor Strangelove, but it was more focused on the photographers and what it became more of an M. Night Shyamalan film. Hey, M. Night Shyamalan is a goodish director, makes goodish movies. Airbnb moments. Speed. Is she telling you how much she saved? No, my wife is not telling me how much she saved. She works hard for her money. It's like that song says, she works hard for the money. And she doesn't have to tell me how much she spends because she works very hard for that money. And besides, she's cute like a button, man. Hattie Medi says, Ricky, I was hoping you would understand that joke, lol. Was reading an article about an increase of hidden cameras in Airbnb rentals, lol. You know what? That's why I don't use Airbnb, Hattie Medi. I use this thing called Vrbo, VRBO. I used the Vrbo once when I went to Chandler, Arizona vacations, and I'm probably gonna talk to my wife about going to hit up that little town outside of Phoenix, outside of Mesa, soon enough, because I really found it intriguing enough to go back there, right? And mostly it was just the locale that we were in that was it lent itself to a very enjoyable, pleasant experience. So I want to have a little vacation, but I tell you one thing, Arimedi, right now I can't afford it. I'm pretty dirt broke, but I'll save if it means relaxing and maybe going to visit somewhere nice like that. But yeah, I used Vrbo, and I think Airbnb is a place that you home share. In other words, if you have a home, more than one person could actually share that home with you. You can book a date and then somebody books the other side of the home. And I don't like that. I like my privacy. I like to I don't know, skinny dip. Yeah, and that's the thing though. If I like to skinny dip, I don't want a camera. So I understand your reluctance in using Airbnb. But you know what? Let them have fun, Addy Meddy. Let that pervert watch you take a skinny dip. Just make sure that you keep your children and your wife well covered, right? Because there are perverts like that. The homie Ricky says, that was a great joke, bro. Yeah, hidden cameras and Airbnb make a lot of sense. Extortion, blackmail, and also to see what damages they've done to properties. LOL, no privacy. I don't know why they don't make them sign waivers and alert folks cameras are at my home, etc. All they're going to do is see my hairy asses. What Hattie Medi says, yeah, that's the only thing that they're going to see, right? They're going to see my hairy ass too. Sounds like some Diddy shh. Devin enters chat. Somebody say Diddy. A gaffe that Joe Biden said that made me chuckle was, how many times do we have to prove that we can be trusted? Maddie Meddy, don't make me laugh about our president. Look, President Joe Biden should be retired. They should let him rest, wake up whenever he wants, wake up to play golf if that's all he wants to do. If he wants to eat ice cream, let him eat ice cream. If he wants to watch cartoons all day, let him. That man has done enough for his country, good or bad. Likely more bad than good. But still, the Democratic Party should leave that man alone. Let him retire. He can no longer function. And that's unfortunate because it seems to me that it's elderly abuse. My goodness. Man, they're just putting him out there just to embarrass America. Every gaffe makes the U.S. look bad, in my eyes. Gotta love an honest Joe, says Joe. Ricky, oh, come on, man. That's horrible. You guys are mean, man. Show some respect for our president. Come on. It's like that one comment where he says, I'm a soul that's a fly. Oh, God. I could definitely see Clooney running for president. He has a chin for it. Come on. The time he fell off the bike and started grunting like Peter from Family Guy when he heard his niece. Man, come on, guys. That's I don't like to laugh. I don't like to enjoy the Schadenfreude of the tragedy of others. I do not find enjoyment from the faults and failures of anybody. The best journalist photographer was film his Full Metal Jacket joke documenting as a war correspondent. LOL. Yeah, you guys are having a good little chat yourself. Do you have censorship on speed? No, no, no. I don't have censorship on. But you know what, homie Ricky? The other day I said that I used the word deleterious, which means harmful, or not promoting a benefit to an individual. In other words, harmful. And one word for harmful or prejudicial is deleterious. And Dream said, how do you spell deleterious? And he wrote out deleterious. And it was erroneous the way he spelled it. And then I spelled it correctly. And the stupid comment wouldn't post. And YouTube was telling me, YouTube erased this comment because you used improper wording. And I said, well, I just used deleterious. I just wrote out deleterious. So I wrote it again, and then it didn't allow it. It came up with these big old red words. YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And I did it a third time, and I was like, what is it about deleterious? If I'm not mistaken, deleterious means exactly what I said. Unless, of course, it's been used by the modern generation, and just switched it up. Nope, nope. I'm looking at it right here. Deleterious. Deleterious. It means, taken from the dictionary of Oxford, it means causing harm or damage. An example: divorce is assumed to have deleterious effects on children, right? All I did was type in deleterious and it barred me. So I'm not too sure. What did you say, the homie Ricky? I want to see what other words are banned, because deleterious, it's absurd that they would even censor something like that. I don't even see that comment about hairy asses. Really? No, 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 no. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah. It's out there. Eddie Medi admits to having a hairy ass. I'll highlight it. There you go. They're all gonna see is my hairy ass. Oh God. Let's see what else. Maybe I hate censorship on my account. Oh, you have censorship on your account. So that was strange. Deleterious. Yeah, deleterious. Harmful. Yeah, I don't know why they did that, Admeti, but it happened. It happened, and I screenshotted it because I'm gonna use that on my community page to ridicule YouTube, and they're probably gonna one day censor me completely, guys. Like, dude, I don't know. Like, look, I try and do everything right. I have this, I guess, a fellow content creator. He's what I call, he's never really identified himself. He's just uses my account to upload stuff, but he calls himself the Screaming Madman. All right, and he posts these little short videos about his boxing reactions, right? And before he posted me, he runs and by me, he's like, is this okay? And I'm looking for curse words or sexist or racist terminology and stuff like that, because I don't really float with that. I'm not like that, so I don't promote that. But if you guys want to, hey, I'm never gonna limit you guys from talking freely. I just hope that you guys ain't those kind of d-bags, right? But he always posts stuff and he always censors himself, and he comes up with this energy like a WWE commentator. So you always expect him to say something offensive, and he never does. He's very compliant, very reserved, and reticent to say those type of terminologies, those type of words. So I respect that, right? But if you guys want to go ahead, yeah, I'll never censor you guys. Just try and be considerate of others, right? There's there's good people out there that that maybe shouldn't necessarily be offended. Whoa, hide current comment. Wow, now I'm getting a little pop-up that says hide current comment. Let me press on this real quick, guys. One moment. Oh, that's all it does? Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I wanted to address. I'm going to do more of these little pointless warp speed rants because really, guys, all I'm trying to do is ask questions. I run into things that seem interesting on Instagram. Sometimes, I think on Instagram, really, that's the only kind of account that my children made me. Like, soon after we started the warp speed channel, or no, after homie Ricky started going live a few months after that, my children said, why don't you start promoting your lives with the homie Ricky? And I said, no, I'm gonna do a Chicano low riding culture music page. That's what I'm gonna do. And guys, I was busting my ass making these reports, doing these deep dives on the history of low riding, deep dives on musical artists from the soul community, because I collect a lot of records. I know a lot about music, and I was investing my time and making all these videos. A 2-3 minute video, guys, it really took me like 5 hours. Right? I'm an old man that doesn't know how to use technology, but I was putting effort into it, and I would get 5-10 views. 5-10 views. Right? So I started to go and just promote the homie Ricky channel, make boxing related reports, and I got better views. So I said, okay, I'll just stick to boxing. Nobody cares about Chicanos. Nobody cares about culture, apparently. Nobody cares about low riding. Nobody cares about soul music, funk, disco, none of that. They want to talk about boxing. So then, lucky enough, I ran into the Screaming Madman, and he said, "Yeah, I want to do this. Will you let me?" And I said, "Okay, cool." No, once in a while, I'll let him post some stuff on Instagram, but for the most part, his stuff is gonna be dominant from now on, going forward, on my YouTube channel, and it's okay. I'm just gonna go live, and he's gonna be doing the reaction videos because, honest to God, hand to my heart, the Screaming Madman reaction videos are the only reason this channel is growing. It ain't because of my lives. I get 30 views in my lives. I think the highest one was like 90 views in the live, 3 hours, 90 views, guys. But the Madman goes on there, makes an ass of himself. Respectfully, he's a very good friend of mine. He makes an ass of himself, having fun, acting like a young guy, but he's like 50 something, right? And it's growing my channel, so I think it's a win-win. I would say it's almost like Venom, right? Venom and Brock. What's his name? Brock. The guy that is inside of Venom. Venom covers him up, right? It's parasitic or symbiotic. One guy feeds. There you go. Symbiotic, not parasitic. Symbiotic. Venom takes over Brock, and Brock becomes meaner and stronger, and Venom gets to hide behind this bloodline. So yeah, it's symbiotic. Yeah, Brock. It's a villain from Spider-Man. Brock or Rock. Not here in India. We don't. You don't do what in India? What don't you do over there, Arimedi? What don't you do in India? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna hang out with my wife. She actually came out early today, and she looks very, very pretty, and I just want to admire her and talk to her and do these things. So it's been fun. I apologize that this is not a boxing related live. I apologize that I was all over the place. I just dropped a couple of nuggets. If you guys want, you can research him. George Clooney, honeypot, CIA, Interpol. Those will probably be words, and then it'll probably open up all kinds of doors, and you'll be like, what's going on? What kind of a world do we live in? Right? George Clooney, pretty boy. That guy? Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems the world is topsy-turvy. Not here in India, we don't care about Chicano culture. Oh, yeah. No, I know, you guys don't. But Japan, Thailand, Vietnam, everybody besides besides Indians, they care about Chicanos. but uh, but yeah, that's a funny one, Eddie. Now, if you guys don't mind, I know that you guys are my fan base. I do this all for you guys. But I do want to have fun, guys. I'm not saying that boxing is not fun, but I do want to address a couple of things. And I'm going to introduce to you guys one of the craziest stories that comes out of the small town, Salinas, California. And on the next live, I'm going to tell you about a woman that cut off her husband's head and stabbed him who knows how many times, chopped them up into pieces, and nobody knows about it. Ooh, how do I know about it? It ain't my wife. She's not about to kill me. I hope not. But I'm going to tell you a horror story.
I'll let somebody else do it.
Yeah. She wants somebody else. She wants somebody else to chop me up into bits, guys. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, it was definitely fun going off on this rant, going on this diatribe that was completely pointless, and you probably did not learn anything, right? But nonetheless, it was fun for me to just do something else besides boxing. And besides, there was no boxing news. I mean, how many times can we address the fact that Shakur Stevens is pillow, fisted, reluctant to throw, defensively minded? I don't care about the fan base fighters. How many times can we talk about how Ryan Garcia's a D-bag? Right? How many times can we talk about how Terence Crawford is one of the greatest fighters in the world? How many times can we talk about how Ismail Madrimov looks like he belongs in a different weight class? Because he looks like muscles on muscles. I don't know. Mr. Vince Vargas says, okay, cool. Have a good night. Good evening fall to you, Mr. Vince Vargas. I hope you have a wonderful night yourself. Que duermas con los angelitos. Eddie Medi says, if you need to know how to hide a body, let me know. No, I don't need to hide a body. Never, Eddie Medi. This is for Speed's wife. Oh, hey, babe, I guess there's somebody named Eddie Medi that says that if you ever want to dispose of a body, he'll give you some secrets. He'll tell you how to hide a body in case you want to, like, kill me. Yeah, she says she already knows that one. You feed him to starving pigs. She knows that one. Yeah, she listened to Necro, the rapper. You think she don't know nothing about rap or how to butcher a body? Come on, man. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been fun. It's been a little short live. Next time we'll hook up with Cal Paradox. In case you guys don't know about who Cal Paradox is, let me just break it down real quick. Cal Paradox is a legend of Central Coast hip hop. In fact, he is the most prolific, most productive, longest reigning rapper in all of this Central Coast. He's been producing music for nearly 30 years consistently. He not only has about 6 or 7 albums to his name, in fact, he's produced a lot of different artists. He has so much energy that he works with about 10 different rappers. This guy's been making music for nearly 30 years. This is Cal Paradox, or who most know as Acapulco Cal. If you guys want to discover great music, listen to Cal Paradox. Listen to some of the artists that he produces, such as Jody Waters, D1 Joe D, the number 1 Joe. You'll love that album. It's a masterpiece. The best hip hop album from this area have involved Jody Waters. He has the most recent release called the Alisal Jazz Club. You'll love it. It's another masterpiece. This is Acapulco Cal. This guy is a legend. And I had him on for about 2-3 minutes when he went live and he couldn't hear me and he was playing his beats and you guys couldn't hear me because somehow he took over the airwaves. I'm not too sure how he did that, but I'm going to have to ask him about it so I can start taking over other people's airwaves. But nonetheless, we'll catch up with that guy soon enough. It was fun, ladies and gentlemen. We'll do it again, but next time, I'm going to tell you a story about death and dismemberment, and how this killer, nobody makes the connection. Salinas, California, has a killer. My wife says that's me. All right. I bid you adieu. Be well of health and sane of mind. Engage. Oh yeah, I see you at Pachuco. I see you at Pachuco. So okay, adios, amigo.